Hey everyone, as we're all looking forward to a brand new year and a fresh start, I bet you're thinking about how to boost your happiness just like me.
Definitely.
So today we're going to take a deep dive into a podcast script called From Unhappy to Thriving, 5 Proven Strategies for Happiness in 2025.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's got some pretty cool ideas, and lucky for us, we have our expert here to break it all down.
I'm ready.
Great. So the script kind of starts by saying that happiness isn't all about just feeling good.
Hmm.
It digs into the research of this guy, Martin Seligman, who's a really big name in positive psychology.
Oh, yeah, I know his work.
So he says that happiness is more about like meaning, engagement, and positive emotions. It's kind of deeper than just like temporary good vibes, right?
It is. It's more about a sustained sense of well-being.
Right, exactly. And then the script goes on to talk about the Harvard study on happiness.
Oh, wow. 80 years they followed people.
Yeah, can you believe that? They followed people for like their entire lives, and what they found was that really deep and like lasting happiness comes from strong relationships and having a sense of purpose.
Not chasing wealth or fame, which a lot of people think.
Yeah, which is super interesting, right? Like it
Yeah,
really challenges a lot of our assumptions about what it means to be happy.
absolutely.
So I'm curious, we're talking about this deeper kind of happiness. What does this actually look like in our daily lives?
Well, think of it this way. It's not about just having these like fleeting happy moments. It's more about feeling like you're really a part of something bigger than yourself, like you're involved in things that actually matter to you and like living a life that you know is in line with your values.
So it's kind of about feeling fulfilled, not just happy.
Yeah, exactly. It's about having that deep sense of fulfillment.
I like that. And get this, the script says that happier people are more productive at work, they have better relationships with people, and they even live longer.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, who wouldn't want that?
Right? Like sign me up.
Yeah.
So how do we actually like get there? How do we cultivate this kind of happiness?
Well, the script suggests that one of the first steps is to like really tackle negativity head on.
Okay, so like how do we do that?
Well, one thing they suggest is something we've all probably heard of but maybe haven't tried. It's keeping a gratitude journal.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, it might seem really simple, but the research on gratitude is seriously amazing.
Oh, really? Tell me more about that.
Well, back in 2003, these researchers, Emmons and McCullough, they did this study where people wrote down things they were grateful for every day, and guess what? They found that these people actually experienced a big increase in their overall well-being.
Oh, wow. So like just taking a few minutes to appreciate the good things can actually change how we feel.
Yeah. It's all about training your brain to focus on what you have, not what you're missing.
I love that. It's like rewiring our brains for positivity.
Exactly.
That's so cool. And I also noticed that the script talks about this idea of reframing negative self-talk.
Oh, yeah, we all do that.
Yeah. Like those times when you're thinking, I'm not good enough or I can't do this.
Ugh, I know.
But the script says that we should actually challenge those thoughts and replace them with something more positive and constructive, right?
Absolutely. It's not about ignoring our problems or pretending that everything's perfect. It's more about, like, changing the way we talk to ourselves.
Okay, I see what you mean.
So instead of saying, I'm a failure, you could try saying something like, okay, I'm learning from this experience and I'm growing, you know?
Yeah. Like changing the script in our heads.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's a really subtle change, but it feels really powerful.
It is. And it's a practice. Just like anything else, the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Okay, so we've got gratitude and we've got reframing negative self-talk. Any other habits we can try to boost happiness?
Well, the script also highlights mindfulness and meditation.
Oh, okay, but isn't that just for like, monks on a mountaintop?
Not at all. Mindfulness is basically about being more aware of what's happening right now in this moment without judging it.
Okay, so how do you actually do that?
It can be super simple. You could just try taking 5 deep breaths when you're feeling really stressed or overwhelmed.
5 deep breaths, that's doable. But does that actually make a difference?
Oh, it can. The Journal of Behavioral Medicine actually published a study that showed mindfulness can reduce stress and make you feel happier.
Wow, so it's backed by science.
Exactly. It's about training your attention so you're more present and you can observe your thoughts and feelings without getting carried away by them, you know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially in today's world where we're constantly bombarded with information and distractions.
Absolutely. And, speaking of making time for ourselves, the script also talks about joy breaks.
Joy breaks. I love that. Tell me more.
It's all about intentionally carving out time for activities that you genuinely love.
Okay, I like that. So what kind of things would you consider joy breaks?
It could be anything you enjoy reading, listening to music, spending time in nature, doing something creative, whatever brings you joy.
Right, and it's about making it a regular part of your routine, not just something you do when you happen to have extra time.
Exactly. And research actually shows that there's a strong connection between doing these kinds of leisure activities and feeling more satisfied with your life overall.
So it's not selfish to do things we enjoy.
Not at all. It's essential for our well-being.
I love that. So it's not about waiting for happiness to just magically happen. It's about creating it ourselves.
You got it.
That's awesome. And then the script also highlights something else that's super important for happiness.
What's that?
Meaningful relationships.
Ah, yes.
And this is where the Harvard study on happiness really shows something interesting.
What did they find?
Their research in 2019 found that people who have really strong social bonds are way happier and have better health overall.
It's not just about having a ton of friends on social media.
Exactly. It's about quality, not quantity. It's about having those few really important connections.
Yeah, the people who you feel really get you.
Yeah, exactly. The ones who make you feel seen and understood and supported.
That's so important.
And I can definitely relate to that. There was a time when I was so focused on work that I kind of let some of my friendships slip away. But when I made the effort to reach out and reconnect, it was like this huge weight lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah, I bet.
Like I felt so much less stressed and way happier.
That's amazing. It's a great example of how even small changes in our relationships can have a big impact on our overall happiness.
Absolutely. So it sounds like being really intentional about our relationships is key.
It is. It's about making time for the people we care about, really listening to them, being there for them, and just being a good friend, you know?
Yeah, and those things take effort,
They do.
but the rewards are huge.
Absolutely. It's an investment worth making. Building and nurturing those connections is one of the most rewarding things we can do in life.
I agree. And it's an ongoing process, right? It's not like you just do it once and you're done.
Definitely. It's something you have to keep working at.
Okay, so let's do a quick recap. We've talked about 5 key strategies for boosting happiness.
Let's hear them.
So first, it's about understanding what happiness actually means. It's not just about feeling good. It's deeper than that.
Right.
Second, it's about letting go of all that negativity.
We all have it.
Yeah. And then third, it's about building positive habits like mindfulness and scheduling those joy breaks.
Love those joy breaks.
Me too. And finally, it's about cultivating those meaningful relationships that bring us joy and support.
It's like putting together all the pieces of the puzzle.
Exactly. And you know what's really cool about all of this is that we have way more power over our happiness than we often realize.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
It's not something that just happens to us. It's something we can actually choose, and we can cultivate it through the things we do every day.
It's an ongoing journey, that's for sure.
It is, but it's a journey worth taking, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
So before we move on to the next part of our deep dive, I want to touch on something you just said about happiness being a journey, not a destination.
Okay.
It's not like we reach some point where we're just happy all the time, right?
No, not at all.
It's more about embracing all of it. The good and the bad, the challenges and the triumphs.
And finding joy in the process of growing and learning about ourselves.
Exactly. And that's where this idea of resilience comes in.
It's so crucial.
It's not about pretending that life is always easy or avoiding hard things,
Yeah, it's about facing those challenges head on.
and having the tools and the mindset to bounce back even stronger.
I like to think of it like building a muscle. The more we use our resilience muscle, the stronger it gets.
I love that analogy. And we've talked about some really great ways to strengthen that muscle, haven't we?
We have.
Gratitude, mindfulness, meaningful connections, all of these things contribute to our resilience.
You're absolutely right.
So it's like we have this whole toolkit of strategies that can help us navigate the ups and downs of life.
It's amazing what we're capable of.
It is. And I think it's empowering to realize that we actually have more control over our happiness than we often think.
Absolutely. We have the power to make choices that lead to a more fulfilling life.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
This journey of happiness and resilience, it's not about achieving some perfect state of being. It's about showing up every day and being intentional about cultivating joy and strength.
I love that.
And remember, we're all in this together.
We are.
We'll be back in a bit to continue our exploration and dive into some really helpful resources.
Sounds good.
See you soon.
Can't wait. You know, thinking about this whole journey of happiness and resilience thing, it makes me think about self-doubt.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Like, it can really get in the way of actually feeling happy and fulfilled?
It's true. When you're always like second guessing yourself or focusing on the negative, it's so hard to like embrace the positive and build resilience.
It's like we're holding ourselves back from actually experiencing joy.
Exactly. And I feel like so many people struggle with self-doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
So how do we even start to strengthen that self-belief? It feels so much easier said than done, you know?
It definitely takes effort, but there are things we can do, like setting realistic goals for ourselves.
Okay, so like baby steps.
Yeah, because when we actually achieve something, even if it's small, it reinforces our belief in our abilities.
It's like we're building evidence that we can do it.
Exactly. And celebrating those wins, no matter how small, is so important.
I love that. Celebrating the small wins.
Yeah. It's about recognizing our progress and giving ourselves credit for the effort we're putting in.
It's so easy to just focus on what we haven't done yet.
Oh, totally. But celebrating those wins, even the little ones, helps us shift our perspective.
You're right. And I think another thing that can help with self-belief is surrounding ourselves with positive and supportive people.
Absolutely. Like having your own personal cheer squad.
I love that. Their belief in us can really fuel our own self-belief.
It's so powerful. And this actually reminds me of a really great ebook that I think our listeners might find helpful.
Oh, tell me about it.
It's called Believe in Me: Secrets to Overcoming Self-Doubt and Cynicism for an Empowered Life.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
It's packed with practical tools and techniques for recognizing and challenging those negative thought patterns, building self-confidence, and ultimately living a more fulfilling life.
Yeah, like giving you the tools to actually make a change.
Exactly.
And I think it's amazing that you brought this up because we've been talking about happiness as a choice, and this ebook seems like it can really help people make that choice.
It definitely can.
And as a bonus for our listeners, there's a special discount.
Yes. You can save 20 USD by using the link in the episode description.
It's awesome. So make sure to check that out, everyone. It could be a really valuable resource for you.
It really could.
Okay, so going back to our deep dive into the 5 strategies for happiness, I'm curious, how do you see those strategies connecting with the idea of self-belief?
That's a great question. I think they're all interconnected in a really powerful way.
In what way?
Well, for example, when we practice gratitude, we're basically acknowledging the good things in our lives.
Okay, yeah.
And that can help shift our focus away from all the negative stuff, which can boost our self-esteem and make us feel more capable of handling challenges.
So it's like we're building up our confidence by recognizing the good.
Exactly. And when we do things that bring us joy, those joy breaks we were talking about, we're not only boosting our mood, but we're also reinforcing this belief that we deserve to be happy.
It's like reminding ourselves that we're worthy of good things.
Exactly. And then when we make an effort to build meaningful relationships, we're surrounding ourselves with people who support us and believe in us.
Which can further strengthen our own self-belief.
Exactly. It's like a positive feedback loop. Happiness and self-belief reinforce each other.
It's like a spiral of well-being.
I love that. A spiral of well-being.
So it's not just about feeling happy, it's about living a life that feels authentic and fulfilling.
And aligned with our values.
Yes. And pursuing our passions and really believing in ourselves.
It all comes together.
You know, we've talked a lot about happiness being a choice, a practice.
Right. It's not something that just happens.
Exactly. But we have to work at it, and I think that's actually really empowering.
It is empowering. We have more control over our happiness than we often realize.
And the best part is, you don't have to make huge changes to see a difference.
Yeah, even small changes can have a big impact.
Like, what kind of small changes are you thinking of?
Well, it could be as simple as starting a gratitude journal, taking a few minutes each day for mindfulness, or reaching out to a friend you haven't talked to in a while.
Those are all great ideas, and they're manageable even when life feels busy.
Exactly. And the more we do these things, the more natural they become.
It's like building any muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
That's a great analogy. In this case, we're strengthening our happiness muscle.
I love it. So as we move into the final part of our deep dive, I want to challenge everyone listening.
Okay, I'm ready for the challenge.
What's one small step you can take today to start implementing these strategies?
It could be anything, just one thing.
It could be writing down 3 things you're grateful for, scheduling a joy break in your calendar, anything. The important thing is to take action, no matter how small.
Because every step you take towards happiness is a step in the right direction.
And remember, you don't have to do it alone. We're here to support you. And we've also got some amazing resources like the Believe in Me ebook to help you on your journey.
Don't forget to check out the link in the episode description for that special discount.
We'll be back in a moment to wrap up our deep dive and leave you with some final thoughts. All right, welcome back to our deep dive into happiness.
Glad to be back.
We've been talking about all these practical strategies to really boost our well-being, from gratitude journaling to, building those strong relationships.
It's been a great conversation.
And as we kind of wrap up our exploration, I'm realizing that happiness isn't really about reaching some perfect state of bliss.
It's more of a journey.
Yeah, exactly. It's about embracing the whole process, the ups and the downs and everything in between.
It is, and finding ways to kind of navigate all those twists and turns with a sense of, purpose and resilience.
Oh yeah, speaking of resilience, we've talked about that a lot today.
It's come up quite a bit.
And it seems like such a key part of this whole happiness equation.
Absolutely.
And,
Yeah.
what I'm thinking about is it's not about avoiding challenges altogether
Right.
or pretending that life is always easy.
No, not at all.
It's more about facing those challenges head on and having the tools and the mindset to actually bounce back from them.
It's like strengthening a muscle. The more we use our resilience muscle, the stronger it gets.
I love that analogy.
Mhm.
So what are some ways we can exercise that resilience muscle?
Well, we've talked about some great strategies today, things like gratitude, mindfulness, and meaningful connections.
Right. All of those things play a role.
Exactly. Gratitude helps us focus on the good stuff, even when things are tough. Mindfulness helps us stay present and grounded, not get carried away by worries and anxieties.
And strong relationships, those provide a sense of belonging and support, reminding us that we're not alone in all of this.
It's like having a whole toolkit of strategies. Each one helps us navigate the ups and downs of life.
It's true. It's like we have more power than we realize. We can choose to cultivate happiness and resilience.
It's an ongoing process for sure.
So as we wrap up our deep dive today, I want to encourage everyone listening to embrace this whole journey of happiness and resilience.
It's a beautiful journey.
It is. And remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about showing up each day and really being intentional about what you want to cultivate in your life.
And don't forget about those amazing resources we talked about.
Right. Like the Believe in Me ebook, that can be such a great guide on this journey.
Definitely check out the link in the episode description for that special discount.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into happiness. We hope you found it helpful and inspiring. And until next time, keep seeking, keep growing, and keep thriving.